welcome to Conversations with Anasa. We're a little different format than usual, but not that different. So I'm so happy to see you all. Happy New Year. Yes, here we are, bringing in the new year right. Let's start with meditation. So take a deep breath in, just below your belly button. And feel into that space between the breaths. You know, there's a stillness this morning that is very unusual. And it's just a quiet. It's like the whole, I don't know, it's like a still point that has happened. It's very easy to find. Just take all your attention just below your belly button and feel into the end of your breath before the beginning of the next one, where it's just quiet. And your breath can keep going. You don't have to stop your breath, but just notice that place in between where it's going one direction, then no direction, and then another direction. It's that space we want to feel. And it's this stillness that invites people to set new intentions for their lives. And now let your attention fall even lower into the tip of your tailbone. And then you can just let it keep going into the earth. So that we actually feel ourselves as one with Mother Earth. It is she who holds us to the earth. And allow yourself to feel her gentle embrace as the gravity that keeps us here. Gravity is just a word we invented to describe that embrace. And as you're ready, allow your attention to rise up to your heart center. And feel your breath opening your heart. Allow your attention to naturally wander upward through your throat and into your third eye. And then this gigantic flower on top of our head, the 1,000-petaled lotus. And then the wellspring of our own energy. The warmth of our energy rising up through the spine, out the top of our head, overflowing and surrounding our body with warmth, white light, love, as it completes a circuit underneath us and comes up again. And really, it goes in both directions, and it's always flowing. But feeling it upward allows us to connect with the higher and finer of our own energies as they interact with the light, white light coming from above, constantly cleansing and purifying our beingness. And it's always there. But taking our awareness to it allows us to participate with it. And then there's a different essence of fullness that we experience. When you're ready, holding your attention to that internal awareness, gently open your eyes. And allow yourself to be two places at once. We're so happy to be with you this morning. Can everybody hear okay? Okay, great. So we welcome your questions. One thing we've been thinking a lot about recently is the joy in allowing ourselves to be ordinary. You know, letting go of any idea that there's an extraordinary requirement anywhere, that we can just be ordinary and have joy and the pleasure of just being. There's some truth, some essential truth in coming to that, allowing ourselves to be ordinary. You know, the American way is to strive to be extraordinary, to be noticed, to be somebody, to make something of ourselves. And when we can just let go of that and just be, then the extraordinary, that which is extraordinary about every human being becomes available. And that requires nothing except for us to let go of everything else. And then there it is, inside us, this amazing, beatific, extraordinary. And it has nothing to do with personality or achievement or income. or outflow. It just is. And in that, there is a fulfillment that doesn't require validation. Because the validation is in the having of fulfillment itself. And then there's just one extraordinary piece of advice. And that is that when we die, we just open to that experience. And sitting in the knowledge of that and the fulfillment of ordinary, then we can be at peace. Pretty much no matter what, we're always going to react. And that shell of, all our past is always going to be there, creating a, prism of refraction that interprets our experience. That will always be there. But it gets thinner and thinner as we spend more and more time allowing our essence to pervade our awareness. They're not different, essence and awareness, but they seem different until they become one. Andrew, question?
Because dealing with people who wish us harm, even though it's not based on reality.
So this question is, how do we deal best with people who wish us harm? That, usually is not based in reality with any of us. Well, one very odd thing about life is that people always want to try to reduce those around them to wherever they are. It's just a natural kind of jealousy of, I don't know, it seems based in jealousy and lack of awareness that there's always a choice. And for some reason, the incapacity to make a choice for something better for themselves. So they want to reduce those around them. And so the simplest thing, if it's possible, and usually it is, especially since so much of what communication happens now is either electronic media or, it's, we can turn it off. We can answer the phone only when it's convenient for us to have a conversation with those people. We can choose our time and place of engagement. This is what our world has really allowed us to do, is to disconnect for the most part, unless these are people that inhabit our personal environment, in which case we have to reevaluate what we're allowing in our environment, which is really the whole conversation, is that when someone clearly has demonstrated repeatedly that they don't wish us well, then we really can't have that in our environment. We just can't have it. And it's not our nature to encourage people to divorce from situations. Usually we encourage people to grow through them, to grow around them, to somehow become of benefit to that situation. But not all situations are redeemable. And not all people are willing to choose redemption. That's the truth. So we do our best for as long as we can stand it. And when we can't stand it anymore, when it is pulling us downward more than our capacity to float above it, then it's time to separate. Because we cannot allow ourselves to become other than our essence once we have chosen to pursue our essence, our essential self, our union with that which is divine within us. Once we have made that choice, there is a certain point in every relationship where we can't compromise. And usually what happens is the people who can't come with us naturally fall away. And so it's our job to allow that to happen. And people self-select. Generally, we don't have to do much, except continue to be ourselves and continue to choose the highest that we can in every moment. And it doesn't mean that we preach or try to change the other person. We just are a living demonstration of who we are. And we do our best to share that as long as the other person is trying. That's the other ingredient. If the person is truly trying and they repeatedly demonstrate that they're trying, as long as they're trying, we're available. Because we all know that there are many failures that lead to every success. So we don't mind failure as long as there's trying. And it's not even really a judgment because the person will self-select. And we just stop sending the lifeline. And if the person is really lucky, at some point, they will figure it out. And then they'll send, word that they want help, either to us or to some other opportunity that might be more accessible to them at that time. Fortunately, there are lots of ways for people to engage self-improvement. And not everybody wants to seek union with their own divinity. That's just the truth of it. We all know how hard it is. And so we can leave other people to their choices. But trying to save the world depletes us really quickly. And as we live deeper and deeper, we're living from a more infinite resource. But we have finite bodies. And so we just balance as best we can. But the reason we're saying it the way we're saying it is because everybody on this call wants to be of benefit. And so it's our tendency to be overly available. Because we don't really cultivate boundaries. Because we don't want to have boundaries between ourselves and the infinite. And so all our boundaries fall away. And then those who can't or have not yet decided that that's what they want tend to try to get fed through us, which is fine. And then at some point, some kind of weirdness kicks in and they don't exactly want to work for it, but there's some kind of entitlement that it's a very strange process and it's different in every person. So we won't try to generalize about what that is, but we've probably all experienced it in ways. And so, we do the best we can. And if it's somebody we can't disconnect from totally, then we manage that connection in the times when we have the energy, the bandwidth to engage it, and we engage it for a certain limited time. we'll fit it into a schedule. So that there's a certain point where we have to say, I'm sorry, but I have to go now. And it's the truth, because we all kind of get stuck on the truth. So we arrange it so that the truth is the truth. And we do what we can, but we don't make ourselves too available, because there's a certain point where it starts to harm us. And so we learn where that point is for ourselves, what our tolerance is, and we give what we can. And that will vary according to our life circumstances. And we just be honest about what we have to give and what we don't. It doesn't mean we tell the other person anything. We owe nothing in terms of explanation about our own state, but we can be there for them if there's possibility for change demonstrated. Does that?
Yes, I hear that very much, but there's the.
That's
problem
not
is
your
that
question.
sometimes They still harm you even if you have no contact.
Oh, well, somebody harming even though there's no contact, you just take your bandwidth completely out of the situation, completely out. And don't give it any attention. Because it's our attention that allows things to grow. And so that means inside yourself, whenever it comes up, you let go of it. Oh, this isn't real. Because any way that you feed it in yourself, it still grows, because it's an energetic pattern. It doesn't have anything to do with reality unless you make it your reality. So the best way to deal with that is every time you think of the person, you wish them well. You don't think about that other thing. It'll come up as that other thing. And you just say, I wish you the highest. And you let go of it. Because truly you do. You wish everybody the highest, because if they were in the highest, they wouldn't be doing whatever they're doing that's trying to bring you down. And so you just, it comes up and you just go, oh, I completely wish you well. Drop it. It comes up again, you do it again. You might have to do it 100 times in 10 minutes, but it will finally, your wish will be for the highest. And then you just run white light through the whole situation. And if need be, if it's too intense, you go to the Inasa temple and bring in the big white light for the whole situation. And you just cleanse yourself of the situation, and you fill the situation with love. And you wish that person well. Always, we wish everybody well. We don't, it's not about revenge, ever. It's about bringing the whole thing up.
So you don't try to have a conversation with them in the Nasa temple.
If all you feel is hostility, do not bring them to the Inasa temple. Just send the love in that direction. But when there's just hostility, there's no leverage, no leverage point in there. It's just all a furnace of hell. The person is invited in hell. And all we can do is send white light in that direction. You know, it would be like Ukraine trying to have a conversation with Putin. It can't happen. You know, it brings up the question, what does turning the other cheek mean? It doesn't mean you turn yourself into cannon fodder. It means, you know, you just hold up a sign, stop. And you wish them well, but you don't let them in the door of your mind even. Just this is completely available and completely unavailable at the same time. Only love can cross. And the loving thing to do is not to engage, because that will destroy any potential connection in that moment. As long as you don't engage, there is potential for connection in the future. If you engage, there is potential for total disconnection. So where is that line in the Inasa temple? Because we do say all parts are welcome. Because we don't want to go burying things in ourselves. The darkness in ourself. We don't want to bury that. So we always allow our own darkness to rise. And this is how we know what's ours and what's not ours. So we go to the Inasa temple and we say, what is it in us that is being magnetized in the creation of this situation? That's what we take to the Inasa temple. What do I need to know? What am I not seeing? And that's our work. And the answer may be, you are seeing clearly. Just wish the person well. But that step is important. We don't banish exactly. Because then we're banishing a part of ourselves. Because there's always something we're reacting to when we banish. So we love that part of ourselves into harmony. And then there's no hesitation in that love when the thought of the person comes into our field. Just, I wish you well. And then do you feel the difference? There's a genuine quality to that wishing well. It's not, I wish you well, you son of a, as long as that's there, we still have work to do. We're still in reaction. Does that? Well, we'll say we saw that you've already done that. That's why we started from where we started.
My experience though is that it, just because of the amount of malice involved, that it tends to regenerate even if it's neutralized.
Yeah, this person is cultivating the depths of hell in themselves.
And if you could repeat what,
Oh, yeah, what he said is that the amount of malice that is regenerated regardless of the love that is sent in that direction, even though there's no contact, the malice just keeps getting exponentially more intense. He didn't say that, but that's what we see. It's like a flame, the flame of hell. And, we use hell as a metaphor because when people choose destruction, not understanding that the choice of destruction, of course, is self-destruction. We know that from the times that we've chosen destruction in ourselves, what it does to us. Anger, blame, fear, shame, all of these things, they destroy us, these feelings. They take us into the depths of hell within ourselves. And then we expect the other person to fall over. And so it's, it's just a very large form of ignorance. And the second we see that, then the compassion arises. But this is kind of a global lesson that we have to learn. We have to learn that compassion doesn't mean that we allow ourselves to be destroyed. Compassion is not weakness. It has to come from strength. So we don't, we don't make ourselves vulnerable to that which doesn't respect us. And it goes throughout the different dimensions of our lives, from ourselves as human beings within our family, where this comes up regularly, and then within our community, within our culture, within our political system. I mean, it's throughout all the range of our participation in life. And so we really have to become clear thinking, clear acting human beings that, the stakes are high right now because the potential for human misery is expanding exponentially as our environment is increasingly hostile to humanity. Oof. We were hoping to bring a message of hope today, and peace and joy and love and all of those things. And in that, there is everybody on this phone call. The reason we're having this conversation is because we all have cultivated peace within ourselves. And so this conversation is about how to hold that in the face of other people's hell. So it is an elevated conversation because we have the experience of love available in ourselves pretty much as we want it. Everybody on this call, it's a matter of going to the Inasa temple and writing ourselves. It's not that we don't have the experience. We have it regularly and we know how to get to it. So we're talking about how to preserve ourselves so that we really can be helpful to people who want to be helped. We are the guides we're waiting for. It's up to us to do what we can. And the understanding that we're ordinary, that everybody can do this, is critical. We are the ones we're waiting for to change things. Extraterrestrials are not going to do it for us. They'll help us, but they can't do it for us. Because somehow that would destroy some natural order that it is beyond our pay grade to understand. And seeking that understanding is a big distraction. Because our real task is to elevate ourselves and everybody we can possibly give a lift up. And so we're giving you a user's manual for how you make those choices. And it's a dynamic system. So the choice you make today may not be the same choice you make tomorrow with a given person. Because everybody has the capacity to change if they choose to do so. But we have to recognize those which are making that choice and those who are making a different choice, and make our choices accordingly every single day, according to the reality that we perceive. Because our mission is the evolution of humanity, starting with ourselves. Because where else can we start, really? There's no other place to start. And so we all know it begins by creating a loving environment in the people we say we love, with and in, as we serve our own life. And then we allow that life to expand however it wants to. It will expand and contract. That's what life does. That's what the breath is. And all of life is like that breath. And there are always still points at the beginning and end of the expansions and contractions. And so the new year is a still point. And there's so many people coming into a contraction that is allowing them to make a choice of their intention for the next expansion. So that's why it's such a still point on this day, is because so many people are going inside saying, okay, what I want for the next phase of my breath in this life is this kind of expansion. So it gives us an opportunity to, it's a reset. So, okay, we choose love. What other choice makes any sense? Yeah, so we choose the highest. And then however it's going to shake down in our face, okay. And we understand that love is an ordinary choice. It's an extraordinary choice. But we are ordinary people in our ordinary lives making an extraordinary choice. Because the only way love is going to manifest is if all of our ordinary people choose it. That's the truth. It must become an ordinary choice for it to manifest. And then we all get to have extraordinary experience. And that is living in the fifth dimension. Which is crazy talk, but we don't have other language to describe what it is that we're trying to do. We're trying to live from love. And our perception of the world with three-dimensional language cannot contain that experience. It can only point to it. but it's an experience where the masculine and the feminine are equal. One is not higher and one is not lower. Between the two of them, they contain everything for absolute harmony. We just have to figure out how to hold to the love. And then it will demonstrate itself as it does in our own lives. It will demonstrate to us how it works. And we have to learn how to listen differently and allow the language to evolve so that it's about love, which is this one word that means nothing because it means so many things. And yet it is an experience that is transcendent of ordinary. But we can't put it into three-dimensional language. So it becomes something other, but it must become ordinary to be real. Yes. And it's to be found in that space between the breaths. That is our essence. How may we serve further? Yes.
I loved what you said at the beginning and what you've brought it around to again about being ordinary. It is, I've heard a lot of messages about leaving a legacy. It's sort of pointing to you must make a contribution in the world, which means that you are somebody doing something important. And I feel and have felt for a long time very ordinary. And my question was about, am I fulfilling my purpose? Am I not living with passion or whatever? You know, it just seemed like the messages were, you should be doing something special to contribute. And the feeling that I got from what you were saying was, relax, be as ordinary as you feel. And it's enough. Anyway, so thank you. That's been something that's been up for me. Is, am I fulfilling my purpose by just being ordinary? Is that good enough? And what I heard from you was, yes, that is. Thank you.
Mm. Yes. I just had a picture of, there's a remedy in homeopathy where it's actually a kind of crab or crayfish, where when they're in a the image I had was one of those five-gallon buckets, and it's filled about this deep with crabs, and they're all trying to crawl all over each other to get up the side of the bucket. And so nobody can actually get up because they're crawling on top of each other. And so they're constantly falling back down. And this is the image I have of our efforts to get ahead in this world. And, what our culture of manifest destiny leads to, it's this clawing to get up the side of the 5-gallon bucket. And if we settle down and get really quiet and really still and full of love, what could be better than that? And what that magnetizes to ourselves is more of the same if we allow it. For example, look what's happening here. We're all doing this, and we all feel it. So we're in this common experience, shared experience. And it is becoming ordinary for us to have this experience. And so we preserve this experience and we make it more, we grow it, and we share it with whoever can share it. And imagine if everybody did that, these points of light. And it's really happening. It's happening throughout the world. It's just not getting media attention because it's ordinary. And it's really, really invisible to people who, for whatever reason, can't allow themselves to be interested. So we can be at peace, knowing that the whole point is to be at peace. And to rest in that breath of fulfillment. And be able to say, it's enough. It's enough. It's the point. And in that acknowledgement, then we are free. We're free to let go of it all. And that's how we meet death. We just let go. And then we're free from fear because there's nothing left to be done. We are at peace. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Isn't that something? That's like why we're having this conversation. Mhm. Yeah, right with you. And yet, having just said that, I for a second felt into my own death. And this sense of panic starts to arise. So you let it come up. Hello, fear. We've met before. And then it just disappears. And then it comes back up. And then it's the same for all of us. We just make friends with the pain and go toward it always. And, you can't go wrong in that. You just go toward it. You allow it to be. Hello, fear. What do you want me to know this time? Oh, yeah, same old story. Okay, we're together in this. Right? Hmm. 1111. That's the angelic number. Hmm. Anything else you want to talk about this morning? I think we're all drifting off into meditation. So this may be the time to just drift off into meditation for a while. So let's drift off into meditation and we'll close when we close. Such a joy to be with you on this New Year's Day. Really so wonderful. So happy. So let's enjoy it for a few more minutes. Thank you so much. What a beautiful way to bring in the new year. So much love to you. Hmm.